My name is Jennifer Taylor, and this is the story of how a mere receptionist changed the future of the tech industry. More importantly, it's about how the most groundbreaking ideas often come from the people no one bothers to notice. For 3 years, I sat at the front desk of Taylor Technologies, my father's software empire, answering phones, scheduling meetings, and watching from the sidelines. Not exactly the career path you'd expect for the CEO's daughter, especially one with an MIT computer science degree, but my father had his reasons. "You need to start from the bottom, Jay," he'd said when I asked for a development role. "It builds character." What he really meant was that he didn't trust me. I was the creative one, the girl who spent summers designing indie games instead of securing high-profile internships like my brother, Michael. So while executives in sharp suits brushed past me, while my ideas were dismissed before I could even finish a sentence, I watched, I listened, and I learned. Sitting at that desk gave me access to everything, every customer complaint, every operational inefficiency, every problem no one else had time to fix. So, I started building solutions. At first, it was small, an automated scheduling tool to handle the constant stream of visitors. But soon, I saw the bigger picture. I coded predictive analytics for customer service loads, streamlined internal workflows, and developed an AI-driven system that could revolutionize customer interactions. And no one noticed. Dad was too busy grooming Michael, his golden boy fresh off a Harvard MBA, to take over the company. Michael, who couldn't code beyond "Hello, World" but could talk endlessly about market trends and synergistic opportunities. Then everything changed. One afternoon, I overheard them in the conference room. "Having your daughter as a receptionist sends the wrong message," Michael argued, "especially with the Microsoft deal coming up. We need to look professional." Dad sighed. "You're right, it's time Jen moved on. She's had her fun playing employee." The next morning, he called me into his office. "Jennifer, we need to talk about your future." Future, right. That was his way of saying I was being pushed out. He even offered me a severance package, his idea of a consolation prize. What he didn't know was that the night before, I had finalized the patents for my little hobby project. As I walked out of that office for the last time, I wasn't upset. I was ready, because in exactly 1 month, that precious Microsoft deal they were so desperate for, it was going to play out very differently than they expected. The next few weeks were a blur, while Dad and Michael prepped for their big meeting, certain they were on the verge of a game-changing partnership. I was making moves of my own. My tiny apartment transformed into mission control. 3 monitors displayed different aspects of my AI system, which I'd named Iris, Intelligent Response Integration System. The irony wasn't lost on me. In Greek mythology, Iris was the messenger of the gods. Then, the email arrived. "Dear Miss Taylor, I've reviewed your proposal and prototype for Iris. Your AI integration for customer service is exactly what we've been looking for. Would you be available to meet next Thursday at 2 p.m.? Best regards, Sarah Chin, VP of Innovation, Microsoft." I grinned. Because while my father and brother were chasing Microsoft for a basic software integration deal, I had just secured a meeting to change the industry forever. I had been quietly building exactly what Microsoft had been searching for, a revolutionary AI system for customer service automation. The meeting with Sarah exceeded all expectations. By the time I finished my demo, she wasn't just interested, she was excited. "This is incredible, Jennifer," she said, eyes fixed on Iris's capabilities. "You've solved problems we've been struggling with for years. How long did your team take to develop this?" "No team," I replied, "just me, between answering phones and scheduling meetings." Sarah's eyebrows shot up. "You built this while working as a receptionist?" I simply smiled. Sometimes the best solutions come from the people who actually deal with the problems. 2 weeks later, another email arrived from Sarah, one that made my pulse race. "Jennifer, our CEO would like to see Iris in action. We're visiting Taylor Technologies next Thursday for their partnership proposal. Would you be willing to do a demonstration that same day? The timing seems appropriate." "Sarah." I grinned as I typed my response. Dad and Michael had no idea that their highly anticipated Microsoft meeting was about to take an unexpected turn. The day of the meeting arrived. I dressed with precision, no more receptionist attire, a crisp charcoal suit, polished confidence, and the knowledge that I held the upper hand. As I walked into Taylor Technologies' lobby, Lisa, my replacement, barely recognized me. "I'm here for the Microsoft meeting," I said, watching her double take. "Oh, Miss Taylor, I'm so sorry, I didn't." "It's fine," I assured her, just as familiar voices echoed from the conference room. Dad and Michael rounded the corner, deep in conversation with Microsoft's CEO and Sarah. Dad stopped mid-sentence when he saw me, confusion flashing across his face, quickly replaced by something colder. "Jennifer, what are you doing here?" Before I could answer, Microsoft's CEO stepped forward, hand extended. "Ah, Miss Taylor, the woman of the hour, we're very excited about your presentation." Dad's face drained of color. "Presentation?" Sarah smiled. "Didn't you know? The real reason for our visit today isn't your integration proposal. We're here to see Iris, your daughter's system, the one surprise you hadn't mentioned, even though it was developed right here in your company." I pulled out my laptop and stepped past them, into the conference room. The silence was palpable as I connected my screen to the projector. Michael shifted in his chair, Dad sat motionless, and the Microsoft team leaned in with anticipation. "Iris," I began, "is an AI-driven system designed to transform how companies handle customer interactions, but rather than tell you, let me show you." I launched the live demo, displaying Iris's intuitive interface. For 3 years, as a receptionist, I had a front-row seat to how customer service, visitor management, and internal workflows functioned, or rather, didn't function. I saw inefficiencies that no one else noticed, problems that no one was solving. Microsoft's CEO nodded. "And Iris fixes those?" "With predictive analytics, automated routing, and proactive issue resolution," I confirmed. "For example, using just 3 months of Taylor Technologies customer service data, Iris reduced response times by 70% and increased customer satisfaction by 85%. Michael scoffed. "Impossible. Our customer service metrics are proprietary. You wouldn't have access to that data." I turned to him, unfazed. "Actually, every customer complaint, request, and compliment passed through the front desk. I didn't just have access to the data, I was the one collecting it." Sarah glanced at her CEO, then at the tablet in her hands. "We ran Iris through our simulation environments last week," she said. "These results match. The system's performance was unprecedented." Dad finally spoke, his voice unsteady. "You built this, while answering phones?" I smiled. "During lunch breaks, between meetings, while waiting for couriers, all those moments you thought I was just playing around on my computer." I paused, letting it sink in. "It's incredible what you can accomplish when no one's paying attention to you." Microsoft's CEO stood up, reaching for a folder. "Miss Taylor, we've seen enough. We'd like to make you an offer." I opened it, my breath catching. Microsoft wanted to acquire Iris for $120 million, with a separate contract hiring me as head of AI innovation. The room erupted into chaos. And for the first time, my father truly saw me. Michael was sputtering about loyalty and family obligations. Dad sat in stunned silence, staring at the contracts in front of him. But what happened next proved that sometimes the biggest victories come with the hardest choices. I closed my laptop and met my father's gaze directly. "Before anyone signs anything, I have a counterproposal." Dad looked up, his face a mixture of pride, regret, and something I'd never seen before, fear. 3 years ago, you put me at the front desk to teach me humility," I said, pulling another set of documents from my briefcase. "But what you actually taught me was something far more valuable. I learned how this company really works from the ground up." I placed the papers on the table. "So here's my offer. Instead of selling Iris to Microsoft, we partner with them. Iris becomes a joint venture between Taylor Technologies and Microsoft, with me leading the development team." Microsoft's CEO leaned in, intrigued. "Go on." "Taylor Technologies has the industry expertise and infrastructure. Microsoft has the global reach and resources. Together, we wouldn't just be selling software, we'd be setting the new standard for AI in business." Sarah ran a quick calculation on her tablet. The revenue from a long-term partnership could far exceed the buyout offer within 5 years. Dad picked up the proposal, his hands slightly unsteady. "You had this prepared all along?" I smiled. "I learned from you, Dad. Always have a backup plan." The next 2 hours were filled with intense negotiations. By the end, We had a deal. Iris would be a joint venture, with Taylor Technologies and Microsoft each owning 40%, and me retaining 20%, along with the title of Chief Innovation Officer. As the Microsoft team left, promising to finalize the legal details, Dad turned to me. Michael had stormed out earlier, needing time to process the fact that his receptionist sister had just orchestrated the biggest deal in company history. Jen, Dad said quietly, looking older, wiser, I owe you an apology. I folded my arms. Actually, you owe an apology to every receptionist, junior employee, and overlooked worker in this company, because I guarantee you, they all have insights we've been ignoring. Over the next year, Taylor Technologies transformed. We launched a company-wide innovation program, encouraging ideas from employees at every level. Iris evolved beyond anything we had imagined, becoming the industry standard for AI-driven business solutions. Even Michael came around. One day, over coffee, he admitted that his Harvard MBA hadn't prepared him for real innovation, the kind that happens on the front lines. He now leads our corporate strategy, but with one major change: every manager he hires spends their first month at the front desk. We call it the Jennifer Protocol. Last week, I stood at the podium at MIT, delivering the commencement speech. My topic? Innovation from the ground up, why every position matters. As I looked out at the graduating class, I shared the lesson that changed my life. True innovation doesn't care about your title, your office, or your position on an org chart. It cares about your ability to see problems and imagine solutions. Dad sat in the front row, proud. These days, he spends more time listening to his employees and less time making assumptions about their potential. The company's performance speaks for itself. Our stock price has tripled, and employee satisfaction is at an all-time high. As for me, I still keep a photo of my old reception desk in my corner office. It reminds me that sometimes, the best view of a company isn't from the top down, but from the ground up. And that the next revolutionary idea might come from the person answering your phones, if only you're willing to listen. Because if my story proves anything, it's this: never underestimate just a receptionist.